All right, in this video, I'm going to cover the Vancouver rental market and why rental rates will likely never go down, because history would tell us that they pretty much never do. There might be a year or two where they've gone down, but every 5-year period, rents have historically been higher than the last 5 years. I'm that Agent Kelly. I talk about real estate investing in my local market of Vancouver, BC. If you have any questions at all, or maybe you're moving to Vancouver, you're looking to buy an investment property, first-time home buyer, any of those things, don't hesitate to reach out. I get a lot of calls through my social media, and I love it. So if you get any value or entertainment from these videos, all that I ask is that you thumbs up and subscribe. Now, let's get into this video. All right, so I'm going to talk about what has happened recently with rents in this market, starting with one bedrooms in Vancouver. So back in March of 2021, they were renting on average for about $1,900 a month. Today, they're renting for $2,500 a month. If we go look at two beds back in March of 2021, which was a dip for rental rates, places were renting for $2,600, and now today they're renting for $3,500. We can see that there's a small dip in the rental rates for two bedrooms. That dip will likely roll over into one bedrooms as well. The reason why that dip is there is because of rental rate fatigue, or buyer fatigue is another sense. There's no real reason other than the fact that people are just sick and tired of paying these prices. However, something like that can't really be sustained in my opinion. So here I'm going to pull up a historical chart of rental rates in the United States. And the reason why I'm going to use the US is because the crash that they had in 2008 was a lot more robust and pronounced than the correction we had here in Canada. And I'd rather use a more, robust scenario to kind of outline the position that I'm taking on this. But as you guys can see, every 5-year period, rental rates have continued to be higher than the last 5 years. Even through the 1980s crash, even through the 2008 crash, even through 2016, anytime there's been a correction, rental rates have managed to be higher in the next 5 years. The reason why rents will continue to go higher even through a real estate crash, and this isn't 100%, but I'm just telling you the reason why it would most likely happen is because as the market starts crashing, people are usually forced into selling their home. They can't pay the mortgage, they're underwater on this, whatever it might be, they're forced into selling their home, and then they enter the rental market. That creates excess demand for rentals, and then as a result of that, rental rates go up. So even through the hard times in real estate, almost all the time, everything points to higher rental rates. The reason why rents came down in the spring of 2021 is because rates got extremely low and it was more affordable for investors to rent out their units at lower rates. It still made sense, so rental rates came down a little bit. Right now, it doesn't make sense for landlords to drop their prices because they're already hemorrhaging $600-700 a month out of pocket on a 2-bedroom condo after all expenses and receiving the rent. And I personally don't even know the economic circumstances that would have to exist for rents to come down. I mean, even if jobs were an issue and people were having trouble getting employment and all of this stuff, we still have 60,000 people immigrating to BC every single year that need somewhere to live, and we're not building enough homes to keep up with the demand of new people moving here, right? So, I mean, other than rental rate fatigue, which is a really short-term correction in my opinion, the only other thing I could see is that if a bunch of people either died or decided to move away, that would cause rental rates to come down. But other than that, it's like almost all the fundamentals and all things point to rental rates continuing to go up so long as people choose to live here over other places in the world. So it's been my opinion that renting in the short term could be advantageous if you plan to live. Maybe you just want to test out the city. Let's try downtown Vancouver for a year or two. Yeah, then it makes sense to rent. Then you're not paying the property transfer tax, the lawyer fees, possibly realtor fees, all that stuff. You're going to rent for a year or two, try out the city. But renting over the long term, anything longer than like 3 years is extremely dangerous, especially on the West Coast, in my opinion. And you're going to end up losing $2,600 a month for a 2-bedroom in Vancouver. And in my opinion, that's really cheap. It's probably over $3,000 now, but you're looking at upwards of $30,000 every single year just to rent. So if you rent for 5 years, that's $150,000. That's a down payment on a beautiful 1-bedroom condo right there, or a 2-bedroom condo a little bit on the outside of downtown Vancouver. So It's just my opinion that sure, if you want to rent, try it out. I wouldn't rent in the sense that I'm trying to time the real estate market because there's too much friction costs to buy and sell real estate that it doesn't make sense. And if I were going to rent, it would be very, very short term because history tells us that rental rates, regardless of what the economy is doing, tend to go up every 5 years, pretty much no matter what. So that's my take on the rental rates right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put out more content like this every single day, or at least try to, about Vancouver real estate and historical trends and stuff like that. I'm that Agent Kelly. Subscribe, like, comment. We'll see you on the next one.